Hey, Teddy K here for the Best Buy blog, and in this video we're going to take a look at the Lenovo IdeaPad Duet 3, a Chromebook, a two-in-one Chromebook that offers a tablet and laptop experience all in one. Chromebooks are always an interesting kind of device category because they're not considered full-on PCs, but they do have some capabilities that would inch a little bit closer to that. So Lenovo thinks it has something that can get there and at a more affordable price. So we have the Duet 3 here, which comes with the keyboard and the backing, the back here with the kickstand, plus a holder for a stylus. But there's no stylus in the box. You won't get one. Unfortunately, you have to pay extra for that. Any stylus will work that is universal. So don't go out there getting an Apple Pen or Google stylus or Microsoft or anything like that. Those won't work here. But anything that's universal or agnostic will. So, and then of course, if it fits, you can just put it in this holder here. Very nice. But when you have a keyboard that comes with a device like this, the implication is obvious, which is that you can create content as much as you are consuming it. Is that the case here? Well, I don't know. I mean, I suppose it could be. For me, where I type a lot, because I write a lot, I do struggle with keyboards that are not full size. So this, like any keyboard that's like it, was an adjustment for me. So I mean, as much as I try to, really figure it out and just understand the subtleties of the keyboard, it was challenging. But that's just me. Your experience might be different. The point is that you have a keyboard and a trackpad that make this feel like a Chromebook, not really like a tablet, although you can use it as that too when you detach the screen from the keyboard. It snaps on and off very easily, by the way, as you probably just saw there, and that to me is a huge benefit as well, because there are some times where I just want to detach from the keyboard, leave the keyboard to the side, and then off I go. Whether to watch something or just prop it up somewhere so I can hear it. I will say though, one thing, because I use this a lot as a tablet as well, especially for watching video, if I want to put a game on while I was, maybe making something in the kitchen or having lunch, something like that. The volume on here is not great. So the speakers are they're a little tinny. They're not as loud as I feel like they should be for a device like this. So you may want to use headphones or earbuds, which is important because there's no headphone jack. So you're going to have to use something wireless. Bluetooth is really your only option when it comes to getting any sound for your ears alone, right? That's unfortunate. I feel like a headphone jack would have been nice, especially if the idea is to prop this up, or even if you wanted to connect it to a monitor or something, which is possible. There are two USB-C ports that could enable that if you wanted to go that route. But for me, I think as an 11-inch screen, which is nice, but it's also a bit small, and it's a bit small to work on for a prolonged period of time. That's why a device like this has a lot of personal preference to it. It's largely based on what works for you. Does Chrome OS work for you? Does the 11-inch screen work for you? Does battery life that maybe crack 6 hours, will that work for you? There are trade-offs here that you have to consider, and the battery life is definitely one of them, because at 6 hours, that's not great. It's not all-day performance, certainly. And if you're going to travel with this thing and you want to work on it in any way, you're going to have to bring a charger with you. So that's definitely something to keep in mind. Other than that, I would say performance-wise, I didn't really have any major problems here, even when I was multitasking. So, when I was using the device basically to do multiple things, whether it went from streaming a video or watching a movie or something, and then I went into a word processor, not a problem. Chrome OS is pretty robust. It's gotten a lot better. I really feel like it's gotten a lot better over the last couple of years, or it just feels a little more stable and capable as well. The Snapdragon 7C processor, again, it's not like some crazy chip that is capable of doing, amazing things, but it is serviceable and pretty robust, and surprisingly so, even for this device as well. But then there are other caveats too. So for example, the Duet 3 does Wi-Fi 5. it doesn't do Wi-Fi 6. So if you really care about that, especially if you're at home and you have a Wi-Fi 6 router, you're not going to get the full gamut really, because this doesn't do Wi-Fi 6. So there's things like that, but there's also, again, then there's the Bluetooth where you can connect this with peripherals that you like. So if you don't like this keyboard in certain situations, especially if you're at home and you have a different setup, just use a Bluetooth keyboard and mouse and you're good to go there too. Especially for certain things or certain tasks, right? So I edit photos all the time, and I found that in lieu of using a stylus, because it doesn't come in the box, I could use a mouse, especially if I'm in a desktop environment like this. I could use a mouse to be more precise with those edits. And like the Duet 3 handled it pretty well. I mean, Lightroom ran very nicely on this device. Photoshop, unfortunately, you don't get the full version. So you don't have the desktop applications that you might be used to with Windows or Mac OS here all the time. But at least stuff does run here. Even if you want the game on this, so Xbox Game Pass will run pretty smoothly on here. But then there are like apps that do weird things, like Sportsnet, where it just refuses to go full screen unless I'm going full screen on a game that I'm watching, but the app itself, the interface just won't. And then there was also the thing where it wouldn't even go to landscape. It would just be stuck in portrait for some reason. So there are some things that apps will do in Chrome OS, or maybe it's just the device itself, that can be a bit strange. But for the most part, the experience will be pretty steady and you won't encounter too many issues, and things will largely work. Especially if you're used to Chrome OS, I think you'll know about some of what I'm talking about, and you'll feel pretty comfortable using this. As I was using this, I kept asking myself, okay, like who is this for really? Is it a student? Well, I would say students, yes. I think students are definitely in that conversation. I think it's also anybody that feels like Chrome OS can't actually do the job. So I wouldn't recommend this purely as a tablet. If you're looking to get a tablet, this is not it. This is not, you don't get this just as a tablet. You might as well just get an Android tablet at that point, because Android tablets at least will run apps in ways that are more intuitive for tapping, whereas this is a hybrid. Apps will work sometimes very well when you're just tapping on things, and sometimes they'll work better when you have the keyboard as well. So I think if you're looking for a tablet, I would look elsewhere. But if you're looking for something that is kind of an all-in-one, something that's kind of a jack of all trades in a way, something where you can be productive, even if it's to a limited degree, but also want something that you can entertain yourself with pretty easily by like detaching the keyboard, taking this with you, propping it up somewhere, for example, or maybe just holding it in your lap. Maybe you want to read a little bit before you go to bed, things like that. This can do that. It can do all those things. And so I feel like it can work for anybody in most situations, so long as you, I think, are getting some value out of the two elements involved here. So you're getting something out of this, the productivity side, and you're getting value out of the consumption side. If you have that, then I think this device is probably going to work for you, and especially at the more agreeable price compared to the competitors. Of course, you'll also have to be okay with the battery life situation, but if you are, and that all sounds good to you, then you probably won't be disappointed in the Duet 3. And that wraps up my review of the Lenovo IdeaPad Duet 3. You can check out more about it by just clicking the link below. It's available at Best Buy now, and for the Best Buy blog, I'm Teddy K. Thanks for watching.